Conspiracy Journal podcast. The transmission starts now.
That does sound like a minor league baseball team.
Yeah.
I was thinking like an Iggy Pop side project.
Like a band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I was seeing a
Yeah.
band in my mind too.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Charlottesville Wetmouths. You know, from the East Coast League.
Yeah, I just see like a garbage pail kid baseball, like just like a baseball with a gnarly face and a lot of.
That's the mascot of
yeah.
the Wetmouths.
Yeah,
for sure.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Today we're in Pascagoula, Mississippi, county seat of Jackson County. It's where we're at is part of the greater like Gulfport Biloxi metropolitan area, which means there's a lot of Waffle Houses. I don't know if you guys have been down on the Gulf Coast down there.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty great. There's like a Waffle House every 50 feet when you get to driving in the area, which is incredible. I'd never seen a Waffle House until I went down there, so it's like
I prefer watching Waffle House videos and the fights and all the things that actually happen at Waffle House.
quite the pastime down there.
I wonder what that is. Why Waffle House? Like, I guess it's if they're everywhere, that's just the place that people end up at, and then they just beat the shit out of each other for hours and have waffles.
Yeah, I like walking on the beach, scrapping at the Waffle House. You know, it's whatever you're into.
I wonder if any of them actually make it inside the Waffle House or if it's just a Waffle House parking lot. You know, like Jay and Silent Bob stand outside the convenience store, but they don't go in it.
It's like a before, during, after for sure. We're scrapping in the parking lot, then we're eating, we're scrapping while we're eating, and then we're scrapping outside.
Then the employees jump in too.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's just a thing that happens.
Okay, so we're in Mississippi. We're fighting at the Waffle House.
Yeah, we're in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I don't know when Waffle House was invented. So this is happening in 1973. So I don't know how many Waffle Houses were around at that point. And this is happening in a spate of UFO sightings at this time in the American South. They like to call it a UFO flap, which I think is great when there's a lot of sightings in the same area around the same time. It's about 8 p.m. on the night of October 11th, 1973. And it's two guys, Charles Hickson, Calvin Parker. Charles Hickson, he's 42 at the time. Calvin Parker is 19. And they know each other. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker's father were friends, and they have sons. Calvin is about the same age as Charles's son. So they know each other. They've hung out. They've kind of gone fishing. And Charles gets Calvin a job at the shipyard where he works at as a welder. So there's some little overlap there. Some of the stuff that you read, there's an article that was written the day after that says that they're relatives, but I couldn't find that anywhere. So I think it was just family friends. There's a couple things about that day after article that aren't quite accurate. It was, I think, a pretty rushed publication of that. So these guys, they know each other. They're down there. They're fishing just south of the Highway 90 bridge, down between the railroad. You know the place. You know the spot I'm talking about. Great spot. So they're doing a little fishing at night. And they're pretty like regular guys known in the area. Pretty straightforward, pretty straight shooters. Calvin, he's 19, he's young, but I feel like 19 in 1973 is like a 35-year-old man today. You know, there's like
Absolutely.
It's a different kind of vibe.
He already owns a house.
Yeah, exactly. They're both married. Charles, the older gentleman, he's got a couple kids. And so they're down there. It's an industrial area where they're fishing, but like they work in the shipyards and it's just a stone's throw from there. So this is their world. They're pretty comfortable down there, even though it's industrial and they're kind of alone. And so they're fishing. They're doing their thing. Charles turns around to like get into his bait box and he hears this buzzing or zipping sound. And like over the years, he's often describing it as zipping. It seems to come from above and behind them. And so they look up and they see a blue glow in the sky. It starts to get brighter and it bathes the dock that they're on, everything around them in like a cold, pale light. So they're kind of definitely in awe at this point, a little bit frozen by what the hell is happening to them. And so out of the glow appears, they described it as a football-shaped craft, an oval. It's 30 to 40 feet long. It's about 8 feet high. There's no visible wings or means of propulsion. It's just kind of hanging there in the sky above them. And I thought about like the size of that. I feel like it feels a bit small for intergalactic travel, you know, if you ask me. So I thought that this might be like the motorcycle that's on the back of the RV, you know, when you're like driving around on a long trip.
What size is good for intergalactic travel?
I feel like maybe like a Independence Day type situation. You want something large.
Like the mothership.
Yeah. I feel like this is like the Honda Trail 90 that you put on the back of the RV when you're like bopping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit small if you're coming pretty far. You know what I'm saying? It's only 8 feet high. It's not a lot of clearance.
Do you think the mothership is like the size of a cruise ship or like the size of Texas?
Cruise ship.
Okay.
That's the mothership, is a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And it's also filled with a bunch of like wild drunk tourists.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And like 90s alternative bands. It's one of those cruises.
Fat Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, Eve 6 is there. Yeah. So we're on the smaller craft from the drunk alien cruise.
The motorcycle.
That's right. That's right. The Trail 90. Yep. So they like a door opens at the end of this craft. They described it in kind of a couple different ways, but kind of like a slit. They were pretty confused by the door, which I'll come back to later. I thought was very interesting. So this door opens, 3 figures float out. Something else that I find interesting about this encounter in particular is the description of the creatures is pretty unique as far as abduction stories goes or alien encounter stories. They described them as between 5 and 6 feet tall, skin kind of like an elephant, like wrinkled and gray. Said they don't have necks. Their arms end in like lobster pincer claws. And then I did see one description that said that they had like a single leg, but I didn't find that in a lot of descriptions, but I thought that was interesting. Like a single fused leg was kind of how they described it. Like maybe it was 2 legs at one point. Either way, they're floating. They don't need to walk.
Okay.
They're floating through the sky. They don't have eyes, but for their ears and nose are essentially like, they describe them as carrot-like protrusions, which there's some pretty interesting artists rendering of these creatures. So no neck, just like a fat blob going down to shoulders with carrot ears and nose. So,
Got it.
yeah. So terrifying.
This is a really fucked up gray snowman with lobster claws that just came out of a big blue light in the sky.
Yeah, floating.
A big motorcycle, intergalactic motorcycle. Got it.
That's right. That's where we're at.
Okay.
So they never touch the ground. They don't speak or gesture. They come to these guys. And when they get close to Charlie and Calvin, the men immediately feel paralyzed. They can't move. They can't speak. And Charlie later relates like he's trying to step away. He's trying to shout. He's trying to step back, but he can't do anything. And then Charlie first just lifts off the dock, suspended in the air. Calvin is followed after him. He lifts up. They're both floating. And then for Calvin, he passes out from fear at this point, is how he describes it. I think it's possible that, if these beings can paralyze you, then perhaps they can render you unconscious. It doesn't seem like too much of a leap, but he says that he passes out from fear. Hickson says that he stays awake for this.
I will say that I will be passed out. I hope to God that my brain would pass me out because there's a really scary snowman that's abducting me.
There's a big carrot snowman.
Big gray elephant skin carrot snowman with 1 leg and 2 lobster claws coming at me. And I'm like sleep paralysis mode. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. I want to be asleep. I want to pass me out, please.
Yeah,
please.
You're such a Calvin.
Yeah. I'm a major Calvin. I fucking hope I'm a Calvin.
Yeah.
If there is a God, I will be a Calvin.
Yeah. I'm more of a Charlie in this situation,
You would be.
So Charlie stays awake, and then all of a sudden they're inside the ship. It seems like they are in separate areas when this is happening.
Of the ship?
Yeah. And so Hickson, he says he finds himself in a small enclosed space, smooth, featureless, softly glowing. In an interview with his son, he related that his father described it as being like inside of a light bulb, which I thought was an apt description. He's upright, suspended. He said a mechanical eye, not attached to anything, starts to move over his body, and it's clear to him that this mechanical eye is examining him very slowly and deliberately. But he says there's no pain, there's no communication at this point. It's just this examination is happening. Parker, ultimately unconscious, he seems to drift out in and out in this encounter because he later describes feeling kind of like a forced calming and a telepathic communication from these creatures a voice inside his mind that was clear to him came from them that said, no harm will come to you, something along those lines. No harm will come to you, we mean you no harm, something in that vein. And Hickson, who's getting examined by the eye, also described it as a football shape. I thought that was interesting. Just a lot of football references in this as far as the shapes that things go.
I always find that throughout history too. Like when anyone has an abduction story, like their descriptions are all kind of reflective of like what they know, and then they make sense. Like if you want to try to like draw a comparison, like there's always just like this. Like for these guys, it's football.
Right. For me, it would be eye shaped because I don't do football, but I have eyes.
Famously has eyes.
I use them every day.
Yeah. Well, and that seems to be a pretty accurate description, is an eye of this thing. Charlie doesn't really have a sense of time of how long this is happening, but presumes that it's 20 to 40 minutes, something like that. And then suddenly it stops. Hickson, Charlie, he's floated back out. He's lowered gently onto the riverbank.
Aw.
Calvin's already there. Apparently he's standing on the riverbank with his arms out in front of him, like kind of towards the craft, but like doesn't seem to have agency over his own body still at this point. This is kind of a forced position, as it were. And so Charlie's gently floated, nestled among the reeds on the riverbank, much like Jesus Christ as he floated down the river. That's a Bible story, I think.
That wasn't Jesus, though. No.
Yeah.
Somebody found a baby in the reeds. I remember that.
There's a lot of stories, but I think that was Moses.
Okay, nice.
I never read it.
Yeah, well, check it out sometime.
I will. It's been on my list for a while.
Yeah. So Charlie,
I know bits and pieces. There's some passages I'm familiar with.
Yeah, whatever I learned from Jeopardy.
So the carrot snowman creatures, they float away. They're like,
Later.
See you later. The door closes, the light fades, the craft lifts silently, it is gone. So these guys are just there on the riverbank. Calvin is fucking freaking out. He's shaking, crying uncontrollably, vomiting. He keeps saying they're going to come back. Please don't tell anyone. He's just kind of repeating these things on loop. And so kind of as someone is necessary often in a situation like that, Charlie's spooked, but he's like, this kid needs help. So he's a little more calm, a little more controlled. And so he gets Charlie back to their vehicle. It doesn't say what they're driving. It just feels like a pickup truck. They got to be driving a pickup truck. Like
100%.
Yeah, especially because once they're inside, Charlie pulls out a bottle of whiskey.
Nice.
Takes a pull
pickup truck.
Exactly. That's right. It comes stock with the pickup truck in 1973. So he pulls out this bottle of whiskey, takes a couple pulls, and they're just kind of stuck there for a minute, processing a little bit or trying to process. And Parker's taken a little bit more time to come back to coherence. And
do they know how long? I know they were saying that they didn't have a concept of time, but like what amount of time was there a gap in?
They speculate that it's 20 to 30 minutes. And something that I wasn't able to corroborate this as well with the research, but a lot of trucks at that time would essentially just have an AM radio. And often having a clock in your vehicle was like a luxury model. So it's not crazy that they don't know what time it is.
Right.
That they're unsure. So as far as how much time elapsed, they don't have a hard figure on what that is. So when they leave, Charlie's like, we got to tell somebody about this. And
Who do you tell? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
it's just, I can imagine just sitting in that truck, just being like, okay, well, what do we do now? And then it's just like, we don't talk about this to anybody.
Yeah.
We're just going to go about our day. It's like coming back from a Diddy party. You're just kind of
Yeah.
you're like,
In shock.
Yeah. I
think I know what happened, but maybe not.
We're never going to talk about this, and I am going to get a really sick addiction to benzos or something. Like, that's the only way I can handle this.
Again, total Calvin, because that's what he wants to do.
Fucking
He's
A,
let's
Calvin.
not
Dude.
tell anybody.
Drown this out. Just shut your mouth. We're going to have some whiskey, and
That's right.
we're going to move on with our life.
That's right. I'm never going to be okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm also never going to talk about it.
That's right. So unfortunately, you're with Charlie. He's like, that's not going to happen. And there's definitely a dynamic in here. He's a foreman at the shipyard, so he's a supervisor. He's in charge of guys. He's in charge of crews. He got Calvin the job. It makes sense that they have this dynamic. That's like Charlie's kind of going to kind of steer the ship a little bit here as to what's going on. And it seems like Calvin, in his general disposition and the interviews that I saw with him, like he's like more of a low key, shy dude in that scenario. Again, there is this a little bit of a dynamic. So Charlie makes the decision that they're gonna tell somebody. We're gonna let somebody know about this. And what they do next, there's a lot of different information on what they do next. There's some reports that they call the Air Force, which seems that does happen, but I believe that it's the police that call the Air Force later once they go. There's a report that they go by the newspaper immediately, but there's no newsmen there at this time of night. So they're like, all right, let's keep on trucking. But the source for them stopping by the newspaper is a newspaper article that is published the next day. So a little bit contradictory, though. It's like it tracks that if they stopped there and there was an article, but then it says that there's no newsmen there. So the sourcing on that is a little bit up in the air. What we do know for sure, though, is that they did end up at the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Mm-hmm. And
after they went to the bar.
after they went to the bar, had a couple pulls of whiskey, maybe did some other shit. Who knows what they were up to in that time? But eventually that night they do end up at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And there's some pretty interesting stuff from the sheriff's captain that was there. His name was Glenn Ryder. And I think that he knows these guys. It's that type of small town. And everybody there's a long storied shipbuilding history in this town. They built naval ships there for forever. This is also in Cold War time. So there's after the Vietnam War, there's like a downturn in spending, but we're starting to ramp up in spending for national defense because the Cold War is kicking.
Right. So they're like, it's Russia.
yeah. Well, potentially, but it's just, shipbuilding is the industry in this town. So it's small circles that run in there. Everybody's kind of in that zone. So it's pretty plausible that Glenn Ryder, Captain Glenn, knows these guys.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, Calvin.
Okay. So this is not coming from Calvin.
Sure.
This is just a general in case, for a friend, if you don't know about cops and their titles.
Yeah.
You said he's the sheriff's captain?
He's the shift captain at the county sheriff's office.
Got it.
So
we don't have like an NYPD in this small town. We have the sheriff's office. And this guy is the captain, like Captain Cregan of the Special Victims Unit.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay.
That's correct.
Proceed.
He's the Captain Cregan of this scenario.
So sheriff is like the appointed, you're voted for sheriff. Like you're...
Mm-hmm.
That's
so you're more of a politician, less of a
that's what the
cop.
sheriff is. And
Got
then
it.
like the deputies and police under him act more like the police department.
So the sheriff is 1 PP.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's
Okay.
the Tom Selleck in this scenario.
Got it.
His name's Fred Diamond. Well, we'll get to him a little bit later.
It's a pretty good name.
Yeah, Sheriff Diamond.
Yeah, it's
strong,
pretty good. Yeah.
Strong name.
Okay.
Yeah, love it. Sheriff Diamond from Mississippi. We know that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got an idea of who he is and what he's up to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, with the what did they do? There is some reports that they first went to the Pascagoula Police Department, which was presumably small, and they're like, y'all should go to the sheriff's office. This is more up their alley. So they do end up at the sheriff's office. And there's some great quotes from Glenn Ryder, Captain Glenn. He says, I mainly remember Charlie saying, I have something to tell you, and you're going to laugh. I told him I would not laugh and to tell me. He told me I laughed. So love that guy. Glenn really shooting him straight.
Yep.
So they listen to the story, and it's pretty obvious to all of these cops, the fear that these guys have is real. They don't know about the story or what they're telling them, but it seems very clear to them that what happened to them is real. Now, that being said, Glenn does try to trick him, and he hides a tape recorder in a room, and then he leaves Charlie and Calvin in there and leaves the room. And the quote from him is, I thought I'd record their conversation when they were alone, and they would say something like, we fooled that dumb cop good. But they didn't. They stuck to their story, and they were scared. So I like the cops in this story. They're very matter of fact. There's some footage later of a reporter asking the sheriff, can you say what happened to these guys? And he goes, no, I can't. And they're just real straightforward.
I think that helps too, because it is just a matter of if you think about who these guys are, where they're at, what benefit to them do they have to
zero?
Yeah, to just come up with this story.
Yeah.
If anything, they just pointed out, they're you're gonna laugh, and it's just they're risking public humiliation.
Yeah, there's zero payoff here.
Yeah, and it's it doesn't seem like they're the type of guys that would need some sort of like recognition for some astronomically weird thing to happen.
No, they're building boats and going fishing.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need attention from the sheriff's office.
Exactly. I grew up close to a naval shipyard. A good friend of mine was a welder, like Calvin. And to come with a story like this at the shipyard is like you're ostracized. You
Yeah.
might lose your job.
Yeah.
Like you're on the outs.
Yeah,
like you're
dude.
really putting
Yeah.
yourself out there and going to take some hits socially, maybe professionally, probably all of the above.
But imagine like being in that position and like all of a sudden like you like have to tell somebody. And it's like someone needs to know, even
Yeah.
if like I don't know what happened, like you have to like report this because
Yeah.
it's so crazy. Like there was like this flying thing and
Yeah.
it abducted us. Like what
Yeah.
like yeah, like it sounds crazy, but like this might happen to other people. Like who knows what this is actually like who knows what this is. So
That's the very reason that I'm here today talking about this, because it's so fascinating to me. I've never seen a UFO, but if I did, I feel like I would have to report it. Like people need to fucking know that some crazy shit just happened. And then to think that like no one's going to believe me
yeah.
is crazy, and risking that anyway. And at this time in the 70s, especially, it's like, you're going to laugh. You're going to
Yeah.
laugh, but I have to tell you. And nowadays it's like, well, did you take video with your phone? You know, or whatever it would be today.
Yeah.
And today's so fucked up because today we actually have video and proof and still nobody believes it. It's
Well,
like,
it seems like more people believe nowadays, but
Yeah.
But that's also like a weird aspect of like gathering evidence, though. Too is like, oh well, why didn't you take out your phone and record it? Because I'm staring at this crazy thing,
and I'm
that's-
in shock.
And it like, if you can imagine like seeing a squirrel and it's like doing something funny and then it runs away. Like imagine trying to like, oh, let me get my phone out, and
Right.
no, it's not doing it anymore.
Right.
And it's just the same idea of like, oh, here's this crazy thing that's in the sky. You reach for your phone, you put it up there, and it's gone.
Yeah. And now you missed it also. Potentially whatever you were going to see, you missed because you were digging around in your pocket looking
Yeah.
for a phone. Or you're a Calvin and you've already passed out.
That's right. That's right. He's done. He's done. So these guys, they're at the sheriff's office. They have this recording, which you can listen to. It's pretty interesting, and there's a lot of speculation that can be made from the recording of whether they kind of sound convincing or not. But the fact of the matter is that all they do is talk about what happened to them and what just occurred. Calvin's on there. He's crying. He's praying. He was terrified. And Charlie, again, with that kind of dynamic they have, he's like, it's all right, son.
Right.
A lot of that stuff, a lot of Southern dad stuff. And trying to take care of the kid. The kid is scared, and Charlie's trying to kind of, calm him down. Charlie says some stuff like he was a Korean War vet, and so he says something to the effect of like, I thought I'd been through hell until this,
Wow.
until now this happened. Something that I think is very interesting on that tape is that towards the end, both of them are like, yo, but what was up with that door? And I thought that was a really interesting thing. Like, if this is a hoax, and even if they're like, they might be listening, so let's stick to our story. That seems like a really arbitrary detail and kind of the only detail about the craft that they hit on in this recording. And they're both like, I don't understand that door. Like, how did that door work? So that was just a really interesting point for me.
I don't understand doors.
I guess it just kind of like
It must have done something weird. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of an iris on a camera. Where it's like, how would you even explain that if you weren't familiar with the way a camera shutter like spins to open and close?
Imagine being like from the Victorian era and then coming to like a modern day supermarket and the doors just slide open.
Yeah.
Like, what is
How do
this
you explain
witchcraft?
that? Yeah.
Like you don't understand what all of that is. So having
Yeah.
any kind of advanced tech and it's just like, what? I don't know.
Yeah. I would like to interview these guys now and ask them if they've seen anything in the last 40 years that is remotely like the doors they saw.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting point for them to stick on. That lends
Right.
credence to the encounter.
Yeah.
That happened similarly with Bob Lazar when he was working at S4. Well, everyone likes to say Area 51, but he was saying it was Area S4, which was like a sister location to Area 51.
Where they brought some of the wreckage, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And his one thing that like it's similar to this, where sure, the ships and like all of the bunkers and all the things that were there, but he was more fascinated by how you got into the building, and it'd be this hand scanner that would essentially like scan your hand and like test the density or like the space between your bones and things like that and all your fingers, and like that was a very specific ID for you. And everyone was like, that doesn't exist. He drew a little sketch of it, he like described it in detail, and then it wasn't until like 15, 20 years later they're like, oh, you mean this? And
Right.
And it was like, and it was only used for like government application, and like nobody knew that existed. Everyone told him like that doesn't exist, that's not a thing. And then like so many years later, they're just like, yeah, here it is. This is what we actually use. Like, and it's fascinating.
Not too long ago, I lived in Montana, and there was only one escalator in the whole state. This is like modern times, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that there's normal things that just people aren't exposed to.
It's making me think of there's videos of the Amish going to malls and they're trying to get on escalators and they don't understand what it is and how they work.
That's gonna eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better be careful, man.
Oh man.
I'd say I got eaten by an escalator when I was a little kid. Lost
Yeah.
my shoe.
Yeah.
Cried a lot. I was in the Kmart
Yeah.
in New Jersey. And you know what? Sometimes I get triggered by that. And
Ooh, a double-decker Kmart? There was an
yeah, it was.
escalator?
Yeah, it had the basement was where like the toy bin
Oh, okay.
of the balls. You know that fucking big wire thing that held all the balls. That
Yeah.
shit was downstairs, so that's where I needed to go. And when I went to Kmart with my pop-up, he'd let me just do me, and so I went running down the escalator and ate my foot.
I have a fun Kmart story too. I'm not gonna drop it in here.
So these guys, they're at the police station.
Wait, hold on 1 second. That big ball bin.
Sure.
Did
Yeah.
you ever just like every single kid just wanted to get inside of it?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not alone there, right?
No, yeah, and they would never let us climb
Yeah, for
up
no
the
reason.
side of it. No, I just got to get in there.
They
Yeah.
got off on not letting us in there.
Fucking
That was what they were
yeah.
about.
I
It was a
wanna be
power
in
trip.
with
It was a real power trip.
Yeah.
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 All right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't alone there.
So we're at the police station. We're with Captain Deputy Sheriff Ryder.
Right.
And this same night, there were multiple other UFO sightings. One of the most often reported is a young man named Larry Booth, who was working at the Standard service station, the gas station on the corner of US 90 and Market Street, so pretty close by. He reported seeing a flash of blue light and something move overhead. Another gentleman named Mike Cataldo, a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, also reported seeing a flash in the sky. And the third person that is cited by Captain Glenn is my favorite, a Pascagoula police detective named Puddin Brodus.
Puddin'.
So Puddin's out there. He saw it.
Bro, if Puddin
know?
saw it, then this is
Yeah, that's what I'm
legit.
saying, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Puddin.
Yeah.
Puddin'.
Yeah. He's not known for hyperbole, Puddin. He's a straight shooter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Officer Puddin.
So he says, Glenn, he's like, this is the only proof we ever had is these other corroborating stories, but they are there. They do exist, so these gentlemen are not alone in that, like, we saw some weird stuff going down that night.
All right, time out.
Sure.
You may not know the answer to this, but I hope you do. If not, you could just lie. Did these three guys,
Puddin and Company?
Puddin and Company, do they come out with their stories separately? Like, is the sheriff's office, are they receiving calls from different people who haven't talked to each other? Or is it like, now that Charlie and Calvin have said it, now Puddin's like, oh shit, me too.
Yeah, they seem to be reported independently
Okay.
of this. There's a lot of stuff that comes out after this that somebody's like, oh yeah, I saw something. There's somebody that
Yeah.
comes out 45 years later and is like, yeah, I saw a UFO come up out of the river that day. And so there's a lot of that stuff as well. But these accounts seem to be independent of these gentlemen's encounter. And honestly not that sensational, which again for me kind of lends credence to it. They're like, yeah, I didn't get abducted, but I saw something weird in the sky that night in that same area in that same time. So
Yeah, it kind of takes a few other people because like if you're just by yourself and alone thinking like or seeing something, it's going to take someone else saying that they saw it, because like you don't know, you're like, oh, my mind was playing tricks on me. You'll give yourself so many reasons to not trust what you saw.
Oh, I will full on be like, I hallucinated. You know, like that's the only answer is I just had a hallucination and I should probably go to the doctor, not the police.
Having a little acid flashback. And
Yeah. I need a psych ward vacation, you know?
So they're at the police station. The sheriff also, you know, he's privy to this information that he gets from his captain, and he believes the gentleman to be telling the truth. Again, he's like, I don't know what happened to them. I can't say that, but what they're telling me seems to be true. They're not lying. You know, that they experienced something. It seems pretty clear to everybody that encounters them. Nobody really refutes that point, which I also find pretty interesting. So I believe that that's where the contact with Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, just down the way, a couple Waffle Houses away, they call them and they're like, we don't do UFOs. We closed Project Blue Book in 1969.
Got it.
They don't say that, but they do say we don't do UFOs anymore, which I thought was very interesting. And so when they closed Project Blue Book in 1969, they were like, we don't find UFOs to be a threat to national security, which seems to be like, yeah, not until they are.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
well, it's like we control them, we run them.
That was another
They
thing.
are part of our national security.
That was what I thought was maybe interesting. That was like, maybe you're not interested in these small time encounters because maybe you have a line of communication. You know, I thought that was like, we don't need this stuff anymore because we're already on like phase 2 of this thing.
they're like, fuck your motorcycle ship because we're on the cruise ship.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a line there. So I thought that was an interesting possibility, and Air Force was like, no, not interested.
Can they give us the phone number of who's interested?
We'll get there. Yeah, there are people who are interested.
Okay.
Yeah, and this isn't the last we've heard of the Air Force.
Okay.
So that's kind of what goes down that night. Somehow, some way, a lot of speculation on who said what to who, but the story is out the next morning. The press has a hold of it.
Puddin called the press.
Yeah,
Leaked it.
Yeah, classic Puddin behavior.
Totally.
So by morning, word had spread to local newspapers and radios, and the National Wire Services pick it up. And like I said, there is that. You can look up the article from the Mississippi Press the next day, October 12th. They've got an article, full article, quotes from the police, the whole nine, about what happened that night. So Pascagoula is flooded with reporters. At this point, people are coming in, apparently in 1973. It's pretty interesting, you know, and all the legitimate news services are coming to check this out. And so because of that leads the police and the Air Force, they kind of have to take it seriously because there's so much public eye on it that if something does come from it and it's mishandled, it's going to be a big deal. So the Air Force is like, you know what? Yeah. Okay, we'll check you out. So they send them over to Keesler Air Force Base. They get tested for radiation. It's negative. They are medically and psychologically tested by doctors and psychologists to kind of check out their story. And again, at no point does anybody find any fault with the story that these men are telling. There is some dubious reporting that there are punctures on their arm
Okay.
that maybe had to do with the paralysis element.
Oh, okay.
So this is a thing that kind of comes out later. There are elements of these gentlemen's stories that gets added on. And we'll talk about the continued media attention in a minute where that stuff starts to come. But they go to the Air Force Base, they get checked out. Nobody can find any holes in that. James Harder, a noted ufologist, and astronomer J. Allen Hynek come to Mississippi to interview them. Hynek was an astronomer, initially quite the skeptic, and then kind of became a believer after talking to a lot of people. The men were interviewed separately. They were conducted hypnotic regression. And both gentlemen concluded that these accounts were likely based in fact, based on the interactions that they had with both Charlie and Calvin. They took lie detectors. In Charlie, there was no deception recorded. In Calvin, it was a little bit more inconclusive because he's
Calvin.
out of his mind.
Yeah, he's Calvin.
He's
and
still
out.
freaking
Yeah.
out, you know, a couple days later. So that's kind of the initial after effect. And then they do what anybody would do the following week in this scenario. They speak at the local Rotary Club, which is like, I don't know what else you can
what else you're going to do
Yeah.
in this scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they go to the Rotary Club. They kind of tell their story. And then it really picks up from there, the media attention. Charlie goes on the Dick Cavett Show, a very popular television show at the time. And so Charlie's a little bit more, not a little bit, a lot more front-facing. He's pretty open to talking about this stuff at this point. He comes around pretty fast. And just people are just wired differently.
Yeah, Calvin is still crying under his bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a Calvin. I get it.
Yeah. I was fishing with some friends once in Alaska, and they were filming the reality show Alaska State Troopers. And they came up to us, and they're like, do you guys want to be on TV? And like 3 out of 4 of us were like, no. And then my buddy like pushes us aside and comes from the back. And he's like, hell yeah. And just like, people are just wired differently. Some people like that stuff, and so Charlie's a little bit of that. He does get Calvin to agree to go on the Mike Douglas show with him. And Calvin says, he's like, I think in his mind at that time, he's like, if I do this big national show and get the story out, then it'll be done.
Over.
People will know the story. I'll have told the story, and they'll kind of leave me alone, essentially. But that's not really the case. So he does that show. He's not a dummy. He sees that it's not going away. So at that point, he kind of goes underground. Calvin's basically, he's kind of out for like the next 40 years.
Right on. I get it.
From this point. This is like a month or so after. He maybe does a couple little appearances here and there, but he's ostensibly out for a long, long time.
Does he, throughout history, like throughout that 40 years, have any other encounters? He might have, but probably didn't want to say anything about it, but who knows?
He doesn't report any. He does eventually write a book in 2018. He doesn't report further encounters, I don't believe. Now, my man Charlie, not the case. So Charlie keeps on trucking with the media.
He's on that hype train of UFOs now.
Charlie, he's on Johnny Carson,
Riding
dude. He's there with Johnny, dude, doing the thing, So he's loving it, man. And that being said, he's loving it, but he's not hamming it up. Like when he's on these shows, he's very genuine about what happened to him. He's not afraid of the spotlight, but he is genuine about what happened to him. And his account never changes. Maybe there's little extra details here or there, which makes sense when if you got Johnny Carson being like, did they touch you a little bit? You'd be like, yeah, or whatever. No, who knows in those scenarios, but I get how those little things can change based on the circumstances. Johnny's very charming.
He was very charming. I would have said, yeah, his little lobster claw touched me.
That's right. So, this account or this incident happened in October. So throughout the fall into November, that's when Charlie's doing all these shows. January, he's found wandering along the highway. He's arrested for public drunkenness. February, he tells his wife Blanche. He said Blanche. That's right.
Fucking epic
He's
name,
like,
Blanche.
Blanche, look, I'm going to go out squirrel hunting. And she's like, don't go. And he's like, I'll bring you some squirrels to make squirrel stew. And she's like, okay. And so he goes hunting. And he's taking a rest. He's resting a spell while he's hunting. And he sees a UFO through the trees.
Fucking A.
Yeah. And they pop up into his mind with the same message. That's like, tell people we mean you no harm. You've endured, you've been chosen. Something along those lines. So he's like, damn. And so he takes Blanche some squirrels. And that's kind of the end of that moment. But he's sharing these stories. And then through the media.
That's true love right there, though, too.
Yeah.
Going to bring home some squirrels for you.
Hell yeah, dude.
And like after she was saying, don't go. And he was just like, but I'm going to bring you some squirrels. And she's like, okay.
All right, I'll make up a squirrel soup for us.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, please, more squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, their love language is squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I support this.
Yeah, it's nice. It's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, and Blanche she's looking out for him. We'll come back to her in just a minute.
Okay, we love Blanche.
So Charlie, based on this additional encounter, he's letting people know in his interviews that like they told me that they're going to provide proof of their existence. They're going to deliver a message to Washington, or I'll take me to your leader kind of situation. He's like, this stuff is going down. A couple months later, Mother's Day, May 1974. They're on the way home, they being Charlie, Blanche, daughter Sheila, son-in-law Kenny. Kenny's driving. They're on rural Mississippi Highway 67. They're headed home from a family event. Charlie notices a light in the sky, and then all of a sudden, there's like a UFO above the car. And everybody starts to freak out. But at this point, Charlie, he's had the initial encounter and then the second hunting encounter. Maybe some other incidents is a little bit unclear, but he's like, yo, my boys are here.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We're cool. Don't worry. These are my homies.
And so he's trying to get out of the car, and Blanche is freaking out. And so she's like dragging him back, like he's trying to open the door, and she's like, don't, you can't go. You can't get out. And so they pop into his mind. And they're like, there's no need to fear. Your world needs help. We will help before it's too late. You're not prepared to understand. We will return again soon. Which sounds to me like, yo, we'll holler at you when your wet blanket wife is not around.
Word.
You know? We can like really like get down to business.
For real. Send Blanche home. We've got man stuff to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. So, but his family members report the same thing. You know, everybody, this incident happened to all of them collectively. And so that's kind of the end of the like hard encounters for the gentleman at this point. Throughout the years, Charlie continues to be more in the spotlight. He's giving interviews, lectures. He's on the game show To Tell the Truth. You know, the old school game show where they have three people kind of telling the story, and the contestant has to pick which one of them this event actually happened to. So he's recounting the abduction of him and Calvin on To Tell the Truth. Calvin remained essentially out of the public eye. There's a couple like interviews in the 80s, maybe just like one or two. Charlie dies in 2011 of a heart attack, age 80. At that point, like he'd never come off the story, never deviated, never anything like that. In 2018, Calvin does publish a book. So this happened in 1973. It's not really until 2018 that Calvin opens up.
Comes out from under his bed.
Yeah. He doesn't really tell the story completely, you know, because even when they were like on the Mike Douglas show, Charlie's driving the bus. You know, Charlie's doing the talking and all that stuff. So Calvin Parker, Pascagoula, the closest encounter, my story, is what comes out in 2018. His first full personal account, a detailed description of the encounter and how it affected him emotionally and psychologically afterwards and in the coming years. And yeah, like watching interviews with him close to the end of his life as an adult, like you can see how this affected him.
Yeah.
It really like took over his life and kind of dictated it. It seems like there's a certain fragileness to him and a certain fear that he seemed to carry with him. And I think that was a genuine fear that he had throughout, was that they were going to come back. You know, he had that fear right away. And it seemed like that never really left him, was that they were going to come back, you know, and this thing had happened to him and he was worried about it happening again. In 2019, the city of Pascagoula and the local historical society erected a plaque at the spot where the abduction happened. So, you know, over time it became a big thing. And Pascagoula is also the birthplace of Jimmy Buffett. You know? So now it's
Party town.
There's a plaque there as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit arguable of which is the better plaque in town, which is the more famous plaque.
I think we should sabotage the Buffett plaque.
There's a lot of parrot heads out there that really might find you if you do that.
And there's a lot of parrot heads out there that have also seen UFOs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, parrot heads?
That's it.
That's their.
Yeah.
That's like the fans.
That's
of Jimmy Buffett.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. The Venn diagram of UFO sightings and parrot heads is pretty.
Yeah, there's
There's
some
a good
overlap.
overlap.
There are probably
in that.
UFO sightings at Jimmy Buffett concerts.
Definitely.
Definitely.
dude. Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
That only like a few people are seeing.
Of course.
It's happening.
Calvin Parker died from kidney cancer, age 68, 2023.
Damn.
And the city of Pascagoula hosts an annual festival every October marking the event.
What's
And
it called?
The Pascagoula Abduction Festival. I don't know what it's called.
Sorry.
That's all right. But yeah, they have a festival there every year. And yeah, that's the Pascagoula Abduction, or Pascagoula Incident, as it is often known.
Awesome.
Shit.
It's so simple too. It's a very common incident. Like a lot of people have a lot of those same stories. Just interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's interesting too because there's just one of them. I get it. Like if you're already maybe like somewhat of an introvert or something, and you don't want to talk about it, and all of a sudden you're getting like thrust into the public eye over this wild story that like who's going to believe you, and then you're just sort of like start crumbling inward.
And there's something I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but both of these guys are quite religious, and they come from quite a religious community. So there's that element as well of like, it not like it affects your life socially and emotionally, but as a person of faith, it would affect maybe a little bit of the foundation on which you stand.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting as well.
Yeah, because it essentially just rewrites everything that you've been told your whole life.
Yeah.
I can imagine too, like, I don't know what the fear would be. Like if you're sitting there thinking, oh, they're going to come back. Well, why? Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Like it's just like what would be the fear that is like kind of crippling your life at that point?
Well,
I mean, that might be the fact that there's nothing you can do.
yeah, I was just going to say, like, that's the fucked up part about fear is like there is nothing you can do. And that's so scary.
And that seems to be, if you watch him, he's kind of like vibrating with the fear. And it seems to be something like that.
Even 40 years later?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so awful. Benzos. Give him so many benzos.
Let's get you calmed down there,
Yeah,
Calvin.
he needs a prescription for Klonopin.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Oh, man. I'm so sorry his life got ruined. Man.
Yeah.
So, damn. I just feel like a lot of these stories end this way where it's just like, well, that happened or it didn't.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good point is that these stories like rarely end well for these individuals. You know, there's a lot of speculation of whether they're telling the truth or not, but man, it doesn't end good.
No.
It doesn't seem to end good for anybody, you know?
Yeah, especially if you go public. Like you hear that story a lot too, where it is like they didn't have to say anything, but the fact that they did, it ruins their life essentially. And it's like, and there's some people will retract it or just like go silent, but other people will just continue on with that story. And it's not like it's benefiting them in any way.
No, if anything, it's to their own detriment.
Yeah.
You know?
And it is just like, yeah, well, this happened. There's nothing else to say about it. It's just,
Right.
this is what happened.
A lot of people say that Charlie's continued media involvement is like evidence of this being a hoax or him lying about it. But like, he wasn't making a lot of money off this stuff. You know, he's getting paid a little bit here and there for appearances, and he wrote a book at some point, but he did not become wealthy off this by any means. And it seemed like the negative effect of his life greatly outweighed the financial gain
Of course.
that he made from this.
But even to think that, especially at that time, you know, the 70s, to think like, oh, I'm going to get rich and famous from this lie is like absurd.
Yep.
You know, maybe nowadays with like Instagram.
He would start hawking supplements of some sort.
Start a podcast like an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to think that this little town and these two guys got such a lot, like that the national news was there within a day or so is intense. You know, I wonder how many stories there are that didn't get national news or attention and lives, you know, were only ruined on like a, you know, more local level than a national level.
But ruined nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always ruined, no
Yeah.
matter what. Well, feels like a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is a bummer. I mean, like, neither of them died on top of the world necessarily.
They did get a
And
plaque, though. That's
they did
pretty
get a
sick.
plaque. Calvin was hyped on the plaque.
Good for him, dude.
He was
You know what?
pretty excited about the plaque. He did say that he wanted his ashes scattered around the plaque so
Nice.
that people could come visit him.
A way to come, you know, full circle with what happened to you is actually, I never want to leave this spot where the most horrific thing ever happened to me.
It's true. He did seem to come to a place of peace and acceptance with what had happened to him.
Right on,
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah. I do want to say the plaque is actually across the river from where the event happened, which I find is interesting. So if you're going to visit, just know that when you go to the plaque, they were actually abducted across the river from where you stand and not exactly where you stand.
All
So,
right, that's bullshit. We need a second plaque on the other side so that you can be standing in the spot.
yeah, it must be private property or something on the other side.
Okay,
And they were like,
yeah.
we're not interested
All
in
right,
any
fine.
plaques over here. So, yeah, the plaque does come clean. I mean, the plaque is on the east bank of the East Pascagoula River, and it does state that the abduction happened on the west bank. So, if you put two
Maybe
and two
like you
together.
can give a good visual.
I do.
of what
It
was.
is
Yeah, it could
true.
be
From
that,
when you're
yeah.
standing there, you can see where it happened, see where the ship came, see where they were lifted and examined by old Carrot Face, and then gently, ever so gently,
Yeah.
laid back down in the grass.
Remind me, was it, it's Calvin, like it's gently.
No, Calvin's vomiting, freaking out. Also holding his arms up like he's
He got
testifying.
kicked out. I think they
Yeah.
did the test on him, and they're like, "This isn't the one."
Yeah.
Get him the
He's
fuck
not
out
the
of here.
chosen
Yeah.
one.
No,
Yeah.
it was Charlie was the sweet baby
Right,
angel that
that's
got
right.
gently laid back down in the
That's
the
right.
reeds.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Well, on the idea too of not being able to like report things or don't know who to talk about, I want to take this time to let everyone know If you've had a abduction, you've seen a ghost, anything paranormal happen, you can call our line, the Strange Exchange, at 929-445-3705. Things are kind of limited to about 3 minutes for right now. It could be anonymous. You don't have to give your name. And you just feel like you need to tell somebody. Just tell us.